First and foremost, rest in peace to the legend that is Jerry West. With his recent passing on June 12, 2024, it felt like he dissolved away from the public eye on his own terms, as he always did. A lot of people my age might just know Jerry as the logo, or the guy who GM'd. But his basketball playing career was a treacherous one. The 10-time All-NBA first-team selection guard is almost a mythical figure in the NBA world. Being regarded as a top 20 player all time by most people's standards, it took a lot out of him to be as successful as he was. Being a 14-time All-Star, a 5-time All-Defensive selection, the 1969 Finals MVP, an NBA champion in 1972, earning both a scoring title and an assist title, and saying, "I'm done with this shit, I quit," about 1,000 times throughout his career. Basketball took a lot out of West. And how could it not? Losing 8 times in the finals, 4 of those going to Game 7s, and just the absolute worst luck. Listen to this, it's 1969, the year he became the only player to win a Finals MVP on the losing squad, his 6th time getting to the finals, and it once again being against Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. West drops 53 points and 10 assists in Game 1. Then they take the next game at home to put them up 2-0. Boston takes care of business in Game 3, and then look at this lucky-ass, off-balance, one-handed jumper by Sam Jones. That's just cash, evening up the series 2-2. And even though Jerry balls out in Game 5, giving the squad an 18-point cushion, he stays in the game in the last 2 minutes and pulls a damn hamstring. They shot my guy up with a little Novocaine, and that dog still came out barking for Game 6, dropping 26, running on fumes, while his sidekick Wilt Chamberlain dropped 8 points in 48 minutes of play. Game 7, he's got more drugs in him than Skid Row can even offer, and this man explodes with 42 points, 12 assists, and 13 rebounds to cut a halftime deficit of 16 points to a 1-point game, with Wilt Chamberlain on the bench getting injured in the first half. It came down to one stop. Down 1, the Celtics run the shot clock out as much as they can. John Havlicek drives towards the hoop, gets it poked from the back, and it perfectly goes to Don Nelson for a wide open free throw line jumper. Bounces off back rim, 6 feet in the air, and cashes it for the win. This is just one of many instances in which Jerry West suffered immense pain in not only the sports world, but in his tormented life as a whole. Born May 28, 1938, Jerry West was born into a poor coal mining family as the 5th of 6 children in Cheylin, West Virginia. Going through life as a timid young man due to constant drunken beatings by his father throughout his whole life. West famously stated in his interview with HBO that he slept with a loaded shotgun under his bed in case he had to defend himself against his father. God damn. As a child, he found solace in fishing, hunting, but most importantly, shooting baskets on a hoop nailed to his neighbor's shed. Reflecting on his childhood, Jerry recalls shooting on that hoop for hours at every single angle. In the snow, the rain, the humid summers for hours on end and late into the night, numbing himself to the game to the point where he expected his mother's whoopings when he would come home late every night from shooting around too long. There was just something about putting that orange ball in the hoop that allowed Jerry to escape from the harsh realities of his childhood. Years of coping through shooting the rock over and over and over allowed Jerry to become an extraordinary high school player when he finally got there. Being an all-state player from his sophomore year to senior year, being an All-American and West Virginia Player of the Year his senior year, and averaging over 32 points a game, hitting jumpers over anyone and everyone. Getting offers from damn near every school in the country to come and play basketball, Jerry was a hometown boy and decided to stay home, attending West Virginia University. WVU had Jerry start his collegiate career on the freshman team where he dominated everyone, going flawless with 17 straight wins. He then started his college varsity career averaging almost 18 points and over 11 rebounds, leading his team to a tournament appearance in which they lost. But then in his junior year is when the basketball gods started to just rain terror on Jerry for 12 straight years. Boosting his averages to 26.5 points and over 12 boards a game, WVU was on the road to winning the big one. Leading his squad to the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship game, West dropped 28-11 in a losing effort to go down to California 70-71. With key star players around him graduating, West's senior year was relegated to a Sweet 16 exit, officially ending all hopes he had of winning himself a college championship. But hope wasn't over. We got an NBA career to worry about, Jerry. Being drafted second overall in the 1960 draft to the Minneapolis Lakers, relocated to Los Angeles following getting drafted. Right before that Oscar Robertson guy, West was paired up with the elite talent of second-year player Elgin Baylor in his rookie year. Oh yeah, and Jerry's college coach, Fred Schoss, he was hired as a Lakers coach that same year. Jerry made sure everybody ate. Coach Schoss quickly giving the second option title to Jerry his rookie year proved to be a great idea, as the Lakers' win total boosted them 16 wins in comparison to the season prior, in turn earning them a playoff berth. Losing in the second round to Bob Pettit and the Hawks, it gave a lot of hope for the Lakers organization that they would definitely win multiple championships throughout this decade, right? Well, in that upcoming 61-62 season, Elgin Baylor got hit by Uncle Sam. They told him he's got to take his ass to the U.S. Army Reserves, allowing him to only play 48 games. But Jerry handled the load well, handled the load of responsibility of being the top dog on the team well, ascending to godlike levels in his sophomore year with averages of almost 31 points a game, 8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists for the season. West showed he could be and would be the guy on the Lakers. Leading his team to the NBA Finals for the first time, finally getting Baylor back for the big series, the two dominated with a combined scoring average of over 70 points. Fittingly, it came down to a Game 7 where Jerry led a fourth quarter barrage to come back and tie the game 100-100 after being down the whole time. West and Baylor were both doubled, giving the ball to a wide open Frank Sylvie, who missed an 8-footer, sending the game to overtime. And with the Celtics having the deeper team, they just had more in the tank than LA, eking out a 3-point victory 110-107. It gave a lot of hope for the Lakers organization that they would definitely win multiple championships throughout this decade still, right? The 62-63 season allowed them to have a fully available Elgin Baylor, ready to rip through the regular season for another run at the championship. As they cruised through the first 3/4 of the season, West suffered a hamstring injury a few weeks before the playoffs. Still managing to hobble his way through the first round of the playoffs, it set up another finals rematch against the Boston Celtics. With West clearly laboring on his leg, Elgin Baylor didn't have enough in the tank to carry the squad far enough, eventually losing to the Celtics on their home court in 6 games. For the Lakers to make it that far without their second leading scorer being healthy gave a lot of hope for the Lakers organization that they would definitely win multiple championships throughout this decade still, right? Well, the 63-64 season was the start of Baylor's career-altering knee problems, once again passing the torch to West, who had led the team in scoring for the first time in his Lakers tenure with over 28.5 points a game to Baylor's 25.5. The thing is, it didn't result in much success. As the Lakers struggled with Baylor's fall in production, winning only 42 out of their 80 games, they ultimately lost in the first round to the St. Louis Hawks. In the 64-65 season, Jerry balled out, winning 7 more games this year and improving his scoring to a then career high of 31 points a game. With the team rolling into the playoffs, bad luck Jerry suffered another awful blow. Elgin Baylor then hurt the same knee, giving him issues last year in Game 1 of the 1965 playoffs, leaving him completely out for this year's playoff run. But West said, "F it. Let me take over," and averaged 46.3 points per game in this playoff series, the most points for a singular playoff series, a record that MJ or LeBron could never break. And oh boy, guess who they ran into the finals that year? The shot-erasing bastard Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics, once again just dominating a short-handed Los Angeles Lakers squad in the finals 4-1. With Baylor's knee being in serious question as to whether he could ever get back to how he used to be, this was the first time questions and eyebrows were really starting to raise. Will the Lakers actually have a chance to win multiple championships throughout the decade? Well, in the 65-66 season, Baylor was a proclaimed 75% version of himself pre-injury, which meant West still had the keys to the team, beating his previous season high point average to about 31.5 points a game, leading the squad to 45 wins, setting up a postseason that started with a 7-game series win against the Hawks, which then set up another series with the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals for the 4th time. The team split the first 2 games, switching off between dominant scoring performances from West and Baylor to fourth-year player John Havlicek turning into a superstar in the league and being one of the first big athletic wings in NBA history to abuse any of the matchups thrown his way. Game 7, coming down to the finish line once again, and when it was time to put on a show, to finally battle back against any of the doubt people had put on the Lakers to finally win the big one, the star-studded duo shot 3 for 18 in the first half, absolutely digging themselves a hole too far to crawl out of. And even with the half-assed comeback towards the end, it wasn't enough time, as the Celtics ran out the clock 95-93, once again making them NBA champions. West was known to take losses hard, but this one hurt the most up to this point. Not showing up when it mattered most in the biggest game of them all destroyed Jerry, with close friends of him saying Jerry proclaimed he might end his own life or at the very least quit basketball. Good God. The next year was rough too. After about a month disappearing off the grid after the finals loss, West had decided to keep playing in the league for the 66-67 year, which turned out to be one of the most disappointing seasons of his career. Only playing 66 games due to injuries suffered, it led to a sweep by the San Francisco Warriors. Another year of opportunity wasted down the drain. This disappointing season led to his head coach, Fred Schaas, his mentor since the West Virginia days, to retire without grabbing himself an NBA championship. This lit a fire for West to continue and get one for not only himself, but his longtime head coach. For the 67-68 NBA season, West once again was hindered throughout the regular season, playing only 59 games. He sat out the last chunk of the season, with many thinking it actually might be a blessing in disguise to be able to have him fully healthy for the postseason run they were about to go on. Going 8-3 in their series against the Bulls and Warriors, the Lakers looked to be on fire, having an edge about them that led to many thinking it was possible for the squad to finally get over the Celtics hump, the battle of height and strength versus speed and shooting. Coming out being down 2-1 in the finals, West had put up a 38 bomb on the Celtics' head to even up the series. But at the end of the game, had injured the same ankle that had kept him out for so many regular season games this year, limiting him to a shell of himself for the remaining games of the series. And guess what? After 6 games, they gave the Boston Celtics another NBA title. That summer though, the morale was down for the Lakers, questioning what the hell they could possibly do to stop the size and strength of Bill Russell and John Havlicek. And they had a big idea. On July 9th, 1968, the NBA's MVP Wilt Chamberlain was added to the squad in a trade that shook the NBA. Pairing up the star-studded duo of West and Baylor alongside the Big Dipper was jaw-dropping and reignited hopes within LA that they could get over the Celtics hump now that they had an athletic center to match up with Bill. But it wasn't smooth sailing. Now, West got along with Wilt, being able to openly joke around with each other, something that West was not known for doing ever in his life. It showed promise that this duo could win some games. But this was meant to be a big three, and it wasn't looking that way when Wilt and Baylor got into heated arguments regularly at practice. This was also the relationship that Wilt had with new coach Van Breda Kolff, publicly exchanging jabs at each other. Breda stating that Chamberlain was egotistical, never respected him, too often slacked off in practice, and focused too much on his statistics. Wilt wasn't holding back either though, simply responding, "Breda is the dumbest and worst coach ever." That's a little beef right there. The tension in the locker room seemed to have gotten at West, as his play looked erratic in the 68-69 season, having his point averages drop to 26 points a game, the lowest since his rookie year. Interesting enough, despite all this dysfunction, the Lakers came out with 55 wins, the most in the West Baylor era. Deja vu was creeping up though, as the Lakers beat the Hawks and Warriors in the playoffs once again to set up a finals rematch for the 6th time against the Boston Celtics. But this time, it was different. Well, actually, if you remember the intro, it wasn't that different. West wins the finals MVP with averages of 38 points, over 4.5 rebounds, and about 7.5 assists after being up 2-0 and blowing it, the only to ever do so. Wilt Chamberlain was held to just 8 points in a crucial Game 6 while averaging just 12 points a game for the series. Baylor only poured in 18 a game, and yeah, that lucky-ass Sam Jones shot and that lucky-ass Don Nelson play. You're telling me this wouldn't be enough to make a grown man insane? After again going through a whole summer of saying he's gonna quit, he still mustered up the strength to get out there, as Bill Russell had finally retired after his years and years of dominance. Jerry might have a chance. But I'm sure in the back of his mind, he probably knew he was going to get let down by the basketball gods. Which is exactly what happened to start off the season. Having Wilt Chamberlain go down with a knee injury, missing damn near the whole regular season. Oh my God. And West had dealt with this before with Elgin. So he took the reins in the 69-70 season and led the league in scoring with 31.2 points a game. Going ham and winning 46 games without the former MVP, they got Chamberlain back just in time for the playoffs to start what they thought might be their first real opportunity to win a championship now that Bill Russell was out the league. Beating the Suns and Hawks to get matched up with the New York Knicks for the finals had the Lakers fellas licking their chops. Finally! No more Sam Jones bullshit jumpers. No more Bill Russell blocks. No more John Havlicek drives. They beat everyone else before. So why couldn't they beat the Knicks? It was go time. The first two games were split, being decided mostly by the centers, even though Wilt was still hobbling. Then in game 3, Dave DeBusschere hit a huge jumper to put the Knicks up 2 with 3 seconds left, no timeouts remaining, and they inbound the ball to Jerry quickly as he chucked a 60-footer that was absolute cash, sending the game into overtime. But you know the basketball gods couldn't let Jerry have this, right? The man sprained his hand in overtime, allowing the Knicks to go ahead and take the W after such a miraculous shot, 111 to 108. With a 37 points and 18 assist win in Game 4, Game 5 was an absolute disaster class of a performance. Willis Reed of the New York Knicks pulled his thigh, and instead of the Lakers stepping on the throat, they allowed the Knicks to come back and kick their ass, as they forced the Lakers to have 19 second-half turnovers and held West and Chamberlain to 5 shot attempts together in the half, beating the Lakers 107 to 100. With a pissed-off energy, West and Chamberlain combined for 76 points to dominate the Knicks 135 to 113. After such a beatdown, the Lakers were favored to win this series, especially with Reed projected to not play, even with West getting injections in his fractured hand to make sure it worked properly. But despite all the odds, Willis Reed came out late, right before the game started, and the Garden erupted as he hit the first 2 jumpers of the game, inspiring his team to come back and win the whole series. Once again, preventing Jerry from getting the sweet taste of victory. I also want to mention though here, Wilt, I scored 8 points in a Game 6 chumper lame, blamed the loss on West for this finals after the game. His goofy ass has absolutely zero room to talk. Well, hey, we got close. Maybe if Jerry doesn't get injured, we could definitely beat the Knicks and anybody not named the Celtics, right? I mean, we just got Gail Goodrich on the squad and he's nice, is what Lakers fans were saying before the 70-71 season, until Elgin Baylor ruptured his Achilles, ending his career, alongside West suffering a season-ending knee injury. This depleted team stood no chance in the playoffs and lost in the Western Conference Finals to the Bucks. Now the talk was this might be a last straw here for Mr. West. He hasn't felt like he's had much left in his emotional tank for the game, strongly considering retirement, but he's kept pushing. And he was gonna push again this year at 33 years old. Coach Sharman was hired on the team and convinced Jerry to keep going, and that if they followed his principle of hard-nosed defense and fast break offense, they would reach their full potential. And reach their full potential they did, having the long and still standing record of 33 wins in a row during the 71-72 season, finishing off with 69 wins in one season. And then this team went on to dominate the playoffs, literally feeling like no one could pretend to stay in front of them or try and go by them. Finishing 12-3 against teams like the Bulls, the Bucks, and the revenge on the Knicks, this team exuberated excellence, and West had finally got the big one. The only thing was, West still wasn't satisfied, claiming that one of his first thoughts after winning the chip was, this is it? That's all? With Jerry being used to carrying teams to even have a slim chance of success, he was hurt after winning due to having his own horrible shooting slump during the finals. Quote, I played terrible basketball in the finals, and we won. It was particularly frustrating because I was playing so poorly that the team overcame me. Maybe that's what a team is all about. This poor dude had become so jaded that he couldn't even enjoy the thing he'd been chasing for 11 years, left with a sense of emptiness about it all afterwards. But he used this sense of emptiness to keep pushing, and maybe fill that void by winning an NBA Finals as the main guy. Running it back with the same squad and knowing this was Wilt's last year in the league, the Lakers exhibited a similar dominance with 60 wins and made it to the finals yet again against the New York Knicks. Jerry was performing amazing until after they went down 2-1. West had strained both of his hamstrings. Both? How the hell do you even do that? This inevitably led to the Knicks winning the series 4-1, ending the partnership between West and Chamberlain. Jerry slowly started to decline in his game more and more, still being selected as an all-star, but having career lows at the age of 34 and 35. The team was decent, but West couldn't stop getting injured, enabling them to lose to the Bucks in 5. After all the times that Jerry had wanted to quit basketball, he surprisingly wanted to come back, believing he had another good year left. The only thing is, the Lakers did not feel the same way. Unable to agree on paying him a superstar level contract, West felt like the organization had betrayed him after all he had done for them. So instead of playing for another organization, West told the Lakers to tell the press he was retiring and not even being present at his own retirement press conference. And boom, just like that, Jerry never played another second in the NBA after that 1974 season. Of course, he went on to be uber successful as a front office personnel for the Grizzlies, the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Clippers, but what a rough time playing. From losing by 1 in the NCAA tournament to losing 8 times in the NBA Finals by the same 2 teams, to getting backstabbed by the organization you gave your heart, mind, and soul to. Rest in peace again to the legend that is Jerry West. But if you've made it this far in the video, I appreciate you guys so much. Let me know you got here by commenting.
The butcher coming.
But seriously, thank you guys so much for an awesome second season of Dash and Hoop. I hope you guys enjoyed this little player documentary on the late Jerry West. A guy who needs his flowers and can get overlooked in the grand scheme of Lakers history. Thank you so much for watching again, and remember, y'all have a phenomenal rest of your day.